Hey there, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for coming back and joining me once again. I really do appreciate it. Whenever you go anywhere and talk about your work, particularly if you're talking about your business, but sometimes even about yourself, and people will say, so what do you do? And being able to answer that question well is a really, really important thing to do for you and for your business or for your organization, because far too many of us explain what it is that we do in far too general terms. And this is a problem. You get people who answer the question by saying something like, oh, we're a general metal fabricator. And you might say, well, who do you work for then? And they'll say, oh, we can work for anybody. And that might be true. But the problem is this, it's true of an awful lot of other companies. And if you're not doing anything to differentiate yourself from them, well, you just end up in a race to the bottom on price, or you end up with your clients for whom you're the favorite and they have their clients for who they're the favorite, but it's very hard to break new ground. What you can do to change that is to be more specialized. As my friend says, although he's from Texas, so it works better than when he says it, the riches are in the niches, or the riches are in the niches, as we say. And in part that is very true. If you can be very specific about what it is that you do to help, who it is that you help and what you do, then you stand a much better chance, A, of people very clearly understanding what it is that your organization does, and B, being able to target exactly the right clients for the work that you do. Let's use a simple example. Let's consider a personal trainer. So somebody might say, I'm a personal trainer. I help people to get fitter. That's true of every personal trainer. And the thing is, if you've ever been to a gym, there are a lot of them. Fairly general, all very good personal trainers. And their pitch is, well, we can work with anyone here. So their services are at a certain price level. Now, what if one of those personal trainers specialized and said, I help elite level athletes to get that last 5% of performance? Now that is a completely different offer. It's a very similar skill set. They could build that from their business. They're looking for they are definitely looking for a smaller market, but they're able to charge a much higher price for what they do. And importantly, they become known for doing that thing. They're not known as, oh, just another personal trainer. They become known as the specialist in that area. And your specialism might be a certain kind of fabrication, it might be a certain kind of consulting, it might be a specialist expertise or area of knowledge that you have. The more you can build that into your brand and people's understanding of who you are and what you do, the clearer they will understand you, and actually for the right services, the more that you can charge. Some of the most successful companies that I work with, and actually they're not huge companies, but they've grown tremendously, are actually pretty specialized. And you would look at that and go, but look at the much bigger companies. They cover all the bases. They are multidisciplinary. They do all of the things. That's true, but the problem is sometimes clients kind of say, well, you do everything, but what are you the expert at? As someone once said to me after we presented to him as a business, but what do I come to you for? It's very true. We were all real generalists in that market. If we'd been a specialist and said, the thing you really come to us for is this kind of service, because we're the experts at that and we've got the backup and we've got the client testimonials to prove it, that's a very different offer and it helps people to understand much more clearly. And that can be a specialist service. It could be a specialist market that you serve, and I'll talk about that in a later video, or it could be a combination of both. But what you do find with certain specialist services in very large organizations is it can be, because it's such a small part of what they do, it isn't really an area of focus, and you get a better service very often and a better result by finding a specialist in that kind of thing. I've been looking for a particular service for a client recently, and I started by looking at some of the big consultants that I knew had that service in their portfolio. But what you find is they'll have it on the website. They'll say they do it with all the other stuff, but it's perhaps one consultant in another country or a very small team that isn't anywhere near where you want them to be. So what I've ended up doing is looking for local, smaller, real specialist organizations, and those will be the people that we use to do the work. Now, it doesn't mean that you only ever have to do that thing and you should turn work away if it doesn't sit inside the box that you are marketing yourself as being within. It does mean you can do other work. If somebody comes along with something that broadly fits, but you think, well, it's not quite in our niche, but we can do it and they're keen for us to do it, absolutely go ahead and do it. Or the more structured and better way to do that is to, as you grow in your specialized business, think about those complementary services that sit alongside what you do, that work well with them, that sometimes on the projects or in the work that you're doing, the clients are saying, do you know anyone that does this? When that starts to come up quite a lot and it complements what you do, well, maybe that's something that you could add to your portfolio. But you don't have to start by building the whole thing to do everything. You start by specializing, and then maybe you add certain other specialisms to that. And then when someone says, what do you do? Your statement back to them is much clearer, and they might understand, this person can't help me with what I want. But that's okay, because you don't really want to take work on if it's not something you're going to do a good job of. But they might also think, brilliant, I'm talking to the expert. Or when you get your marketing right and you promote yourself as the expert, people are looking for that and they will find you. That's really, really important. Now, the second part of that I'm going to do in the next video. That's not so much thinking about what you do, it's thinking about who it is that you do it for. It's the second part of that equation. But we'll talk about that next time. So in the meantime, the next time someone says to you, so what do you do? Think about that specialized answer. Think about the thing that you do better than anyone else in your sector, and perhaps that's where you should specialize. Again, as ever, I hope that helps. Go ahead and have a great week. Do please check out the website. Do please subscribe to the YouTube channel and click the little bell so you get notifications when there's new content up. Roughly speaking, once a week. The audio always goes on a podcast. As I say, there's more stuff on the website that will help you if what I do is what you're looking for. These videos are here to use for free. Share them with people, use them in your training. As long as they help you, then I'll be happy. So have a great day and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.